Hello, I hope all is progressing well. Welcome to I Don't Know, We Can Talk About It, where we discuss myriads of topics civilly, reasonably, and responsibly. My name is Kevin Dufresne. Our first topic is about CTE programming. The article examines feedback regarding CTE progressions, as well as perceptions, as well as areas of which educators feel may find improvement, may benefit CTE progressions. I find CTE to be a valuable avenue for individuals to engage with industry, not only of the nation particularly, though anywhere a skill may be relevant. I think if any educational environment, if any programming might be assessing how to implement CTE, finding grounding with knowledge, if not already happening, may be extremely valuable. So individuals may grow with an awareness of other possibilities regarding CTE, though particular programming through CTE. For example, one may find great interest in welding. An avenue may be available in one educational environment to deeply integrate welding, so individuals may have an appreciation of working with different skills relevant to welding. Where a different environment may not have the exact same resources, offering knowledge about the dynamics of welding may prove extremely valuable in many ways. An individual may observe welding according to tools relevant to welding, which may bring one to address how to create relevant tools more so than attempt to figure out how to use tools that are already present that might not be so readily available. Informing individuals about the dynamics of a CTE programming may happen in many ways. So individuals may find different alignments through engaging with the CTE programming in different ways. Where one may find a possibility, there may be a good way. I think being able to integrate ways of offering validation of experience to individuals going through a CTE program may prove extremely valuable for individuals going through a CTE programming, especially against a grading rubric that aligns with knowledge assessing in different ways. So one may be well aware of relevant tools and do very well, whereas another may be knowledgeable with relevant tools as well as have practical know-how with experience evident through a harder form of the skill of whichever skill might be representative of the individual's scoring to a higher degree. Now, CTE programming assessments may operate differently depending on availability, which means individuals will have different avenues to express experience. Similar to an environment that may have a particular curricular activity in comparison to an environment that may not, different assessments will be available. So individuals will be able to express experience differently, though having validating measures may assist with directing individuals between interests, especially if in connection with trade, if in connection with a particular CTE programming. When considering how assessors that find the assessments, the validations useful, when considering the assessor's attention to the details, the assessors may have a way of approaching the assessments with regard to any particular need. So one assessor, one entity of industry might look at an assessment and say, we're looking for an individual with this particular form of experience, where another assessor might be looking for what a different assessment reveals. The assessments operating in tandem with feedback from any evaluator of a CTE program, according to an objective rubric, may prove extremely valuable to ensuring a more well-rounding assessment processing. Any subjective dynamics may receive attention through recommendation. If not a recommendation directly, then through the assessment of strengths, as well as areas that may receive improving, or areas that an individual may have an interest in that the evaluator notes the CTE program in a particular educational environment may not necessarily have, tool-wise, though knowledge-wise. I feel as though CTE programming with more intricate connections to such a regard may prove valuable long-term for not only a nation, though for an industry. And I find the article presents many areas that may receive good attention, with consideration of how assessments and evaluators and assessors may collaborate, as well as with consideration of validating experiences through education that may be readily applicable to a different learning route in connection with CTE programming that may lead to a different economic reality that may prove beneficial, again, not only for the individual, not only for a country, not only for a nation, for an industry at large, as well as intersecting industries. Our next topic, grade grubbing, a term of which I'm coming across the first time, though the reality of grade grubbing is necessary to pay attention to with regard to how individuals are going to be through systems. There are educational environments that address the reality of a circumstance. Every educational environment may prove different through programming, processing, dynamics of the elements that an educational environment may be working with, may be working through. Though grade grubbing may be present and harming students. Why might grade grubbing be harmful? Because when a student is unable to face a reality of the student's actions, then how is the student's guardian, parent, or an administrator's intervention going to be helpful to the student? Now, one may assess the student as a client, and ideally, one may recognize that a student is not only in an educational atmosphere. A student operates between many different environments throughout a day. So, what is happening elsewhere that needs attention to ensure a student is going to be doing what the student needs to do. That is one area of the conversation. The other harm area is, of course, on the employees of an educational environment. If grade grubbing is happening from within, therein is already a sign of what may be trailing throughout the entire system of which that connects to. Any individual encouraging a teacher to do well, though align with what reality is presenting, fine, great. Any educational environment that is engaging with the dynamics of what a teacher may be operating with curriculum-wise to attempt to grade grub for a reason that has really minimal effect on an educational environment, then one may find many conflicts that may arise. The conflicts might not seem apparent. The person's asking for a grade change. What really happens is the curriculum receives undermining, the teaching receives undermining, student ability receives undermining to a great degree. The entire system is, in the particular situation, emphasizing that a student needs to show up and the student will receive care. That's familial when an individual is born in the world. Parents have a responsibility. Guardians have a responsibility. People that are seeking, if not seeking, with a responsibility, a human being, must align needs appropriately. Now, an educational environment is to assist with educating an individual to be more efficient, effective, functional in the world outside of an educational environment. So there are areas to address which affect how an individual will grow that do not only pertain to an educational environment. There are individuals that may go to a home environment, receive particular treatment, then expect the same treatment in an educational environment. Now here's a caveat. The expectation changes with the relationship between the educational environment, the elements that are assisting the individual to grow, and the individual. Then, as the individual may be proceeding to grow, becoming more aware of how being responsible, having these different responsibilities are important, especially considering responses that may become apparent from a guardian, a parent, or an administrator, and then the individual's in a seat like, well, I have to do better, though a guardian or an administrator might be saying, what's going on here? Why is the grade reflecting this? And the intervention is catering to a problematic reality. Yes, people are able to be successful in the world with B's, C's, D's, A's to different degrees. This is a reality. There are people that gain different levels of success in life, regardless of grades. Especially considering the grades at particular periods of time. And one must assess how education is one area of life, just like home is one area of life. And of course, education has many layers because there are employees there. So the dynamics are vast. Now, integrity becomes a core to the conversation. So there are many educational environments that will ensure individuals, clients, students, as well as parents, as well as other staff, it will ensure that individuals know if a student is not applying good efforts, the student is likely going to receive the results from the efforts. If a student is not doing what the student needs to do, especially if a student is receiving second chances, the student is going to receive what the student is showing to be working for. And what may happen afterward will be what happens afterward. Whether that be student passes just enough to get to the next grade, goes to a different educational environment, goes to summer school. All of these ensure the student is aware of the different possibilities and what behavior will earn a student particular results. So, grade grubbing is something that is interesting in many ways to address, especially when an individual is receiving particular catering in a way that the individual doesn't even comprehend in comparison to a different individual at a different educational environment that may be working extremely smart and hard in different ways. An athlete, an extracurricular activity participant, and stellar with wonderful grades. These are the dynamics that become apparent and challenging, whereas an educational environment may be attempting to be representative of something symbolically, if one will, and then the other is literally operating by stringent standards and receiving stellar results. Then one might say, what's going on? What's the difference? What are the differences? All right. Let's get to some origami. Now, this origami, I have a rectangular sheet here. Okay? I'm gonna fold the rectangular sheet in half. Next, I'm gonna fold this rectangular sheet in towards the middle, both edges. Now I have a pretty big rectangle, as you can see. So my folds here require more pressing, and if you're using a bigger sheet of paper, likely the pressing will need to be firm. All right. If you're using a smaller rectangle, the pressing still needs to be firm, though the length of time between pressing will shift potentially. I'm going to be using the instructions, which you may find from the link in the video summary. So we have our folds in here, and I'm gonna fold in each corner now. Now these folds don't need to be perfect, though aligning them as best as you may bring about that form well. All right, so here we are. Next, we're gonna fold in the edges to meet in the middle. From here, it's open, and we can just refold again. Just want to make sure the folding is firm. From here, what we can do is we're going to open and pop up the arrow space beneath the flaps. So I call it the arrow spaces. It looks like one big arrow in one direction and the other. I'm just gonna pop it up a little bit. Then what we're gonna do is we're going to fold the flap down and fold this corner down. So it's gonna look like this. You just kind of follow along here. Fold this flap. Mine actually looks more like a diamond form right now, so that means that the flap needs a different folding. So with that, excuse me. So we come in here, we fold in here, and see mine is going straight to diamond, which is nice. It's just the fold is a little bit more square. So what we can do is read the directions, flatten along the existing creases to the middle. So lift the top right and bottom triangle layers. I'm actually going to see how this plays out. because I do recall the ending portion. So I'm gonna rock with it like this for now. So from here, we go up to fold so that we reach this portion. This portion is going to be up here. So this point line at the bottom, point to point basically. And that's just a fun part of origami. You can just get creative with the folds you do. Next, we'll take this portion up here. So we'll fold, we just fold, we'll meet that point to that new crease, that more recent crease, and we'll just fold it. Thereafter, we come to our point where it's looking like this. So we're gonna have this area up here, and we fold. Now this is where that square part gets, it's a nice little benefit, because when you fold it, then I figured it out. Voila. Well, so you get this square part here. So what happens is you fold, when you open it, you fold along this crease here as you go. So you fold, literally you have to fold down on this crease here, and you press it in, and you get that fold. Well, there you have it, folks. With that, again, do that to the other side. You're just pressing in where the center line is. You're just pressing it in, pressing it in, pressing it in, and then it goes flat. Okay? And you can figure things out along the way. So with that, though, we come to fold here where we are, and we're just gonna bring up the angles, and we're gonna, as I look at this, push the left, it says, side in, the left, right sides in, and well, we come to that diamond form. This one flaps up, the other one does not flap up. Flap in here. Okay, here we go. See, a lot of these folds are happening easily because of having firm folds. Just kind of fall into them. Now, after you get into these triangles, the instructions are saying to press them down flat. Now, if I just press this down flat, what happens is the parts overlap. And so this overlap is not really a part of the design. See, they're just literally overlapping. So I'm looking to figure out, okay. So the squares need to get flattened. And so I'm looking to figure out that. How do I flatten these squares here? Right, so I get this square, and the idea is to just flatten it out. Tricky, tricky, tricky. Well, let's see what else. I mean, I bring it up here. So perhaps, but I'm thinking it's so tricky. It's not so tricky at all. Okay, I take this part, then I bring it this way. I find myself, I think, with the correct form, just that there's no heart there. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to get this form in here because it's the critical form. I think another way to do this is literally, because you just have to make a heart. So you can literally fold the center in as such. So when I say fold the center in, just basically creating a full heart. So it's the heart, but it's just creating a different style of the heart. So I'm lightly going to adjust the heart fold, and voila, you have a heart. And you can actually add some more dynamics to it to make this heart more hearty, if one will. Okay, so voila, there we have it. And that was the other side. So we're just gonna take this same idea, same concept, and just implement it here. Just press in so you get your shape of what the heart might form to. Now, if you do the instructions well, good job for you. So if you're trying to figure out how to get those folds going, you can just fold inside, put a little bit of pressure inside, then fold in the corners just enough or to your liking to make a heart that you want, that you find appealing, and voila, here we go. Then we're gonna just fold in. So we're gonna make sure that we get our folds correct. We're gonna fold it in and fold this all the way up. So we're gonna do that fold to both sides, where we fold all the way up and then we fold to the crease. Folding here, trying to match the crease here. And then we still have our folds from this side here. We fold here and we fold up here. So now when we get to the next portion, another way we can address this, well, the hearts are fine. We get to now open up our hearts. So we're gonna just open them up. And when you have this centerpiece here, we'll really bring to attention. We're just gonna open them up so that they stand out. So that they're gonna stand out. So we're just gonna open our hearts here. And from here, we're just gonna fold the heart down, firstly. So you can see that we're just aligning the heart here. We're just gonna bring it down, fold it down so it's parallel to the rest of this ship. Then we're gonna just fold it inward completely. So we'll bring the top of the heart in like here, so, and then we'll fold the other top part in as well. So I'm just gonna fold this in, okay? And as we fold it in, we're gonna have a good leeway in this fold. Okay, fold it in. Then we bring it apart, and well, here you have a heart box, a heart boat, if you will. Now, the instructions have a form that one may follow well, and also may observe how you may have a commensurate result with a creative twist. All right. Our next topic. I champion reading physical books. When an individual reads a physical book, there are a lot of health benefits. An individual's brain physically changes from reading a physical book. A book on skincare proves to be quite wonderful to read. The text offers different solutions, skincare remedies, plans for one to assess one's skin health with, though the text does advise to check in with professionals that are responsible for helping individuals with skincare. Though there are many areas that connect with skincare that may require one to attend different medical dynamics to ensure one is properly engaging with one's skin's health. Now, with so much that the text brings about, the non-medical areas that one may have to attend to are important as well. And I find how one may be eating, how one may address one's hygiene is extremely necessary to address with observing one's skincare. More so, I find attending to one's environment is a huge part of skincare that really needs attention. And the text brings about these elements for one to address how to care for one's skin, how to protect one's skin. With these elements together, one must be mindful of the approaches that one may pursue to observe one's skin. I think the regarding of ingredients is extremely important, even with how ingredients may affect one's skin. I think how one's skin may need attention, how one's skin may benefit from particular ingredients, may be a great route for an individual to pursue with improving one's skincare. So as to not find oneself in an area that really brings one to be facing advertising, for example, more so than one's health necessities. Thank you for joining. I don't know. We can talk about it. Onward and Upward, Kevin Dufresne.